So, thing is, we are starting a Hungarian bag art project. It is, yes, there you are. Thank you so much. All right. So, a group of people received these kind of bags, and we have to make a project out of it until the 15th January. And the topic is everyone has to include their nationality. So yeah, I gave it a little thought what being a Hungarian means to me. But of course, why I came live is also because I'm curious about your experiences. If you have been to Hungary, if you have experienced anything, what was a connection point to you? What was it that you liked, that you enjoyed? Anything that comes to mind. So this will be a community Hungarian bag. So basically what I wrote at the beginning in a summary of the project. A summary of the project is that being a Hungarian is not as much a personal thing than be in a community and have certain types of connection to yourself and a connection to the divine. So it's much more general than just being born in a country, in a certain area, and being connected to those people. So for me, that's what it means to be a Hungarian, and that's what I also wanted to express in this bag. So it doesn't have to stay a bag. It's just an art project, can be anything. So I was thinking, what can represent the best our connection to the divine is light. So I bought a lamp, which I will place in the middle. And so my idea is, but of course it's absolutely still flexible. My idea was that the light will shine through it. You cannot see in this light, I'm afraid. It's just a little bit visible. But thing is, if it's a bit darker, yes, maybe now. Yay! Now we can see it. Thank you. So yeah, thing is that there is something that vibrates in us, that lights in us. And as you might know, I'm also a yoga teacher, so I'm busy constantly with balancing my chakras, and I try to do it also in my meditations and the joy dance, the dancing meditation lessons. The purpose is to bring the whole body back to balance, and mind and soul together. So that's what this bag is gonna symbolize as well. So I'm curious about your ideas, if you have any. My first thought was that I'm gonna paint a deer in this side, because that will be the brightest part of the lamp. And because it was according to the mythology, it was the golden deer that led back the Hungarians to the Carpathian Valley. So that's why we are where we are, right? That's why Hungary is located where it's located right now in this century. So that's the deer is also a symbol of an inner leader, some kind of inner vision. We have a leading voice that leads us by orientation. So it's kind of also important for how to live our lives, to be connected with this inner leader. So I start with that, and the idea is this part is not that see-through. So I was thinking to paint that with colors, maybe cut out small parts, holes in it with symbols, and the rest I will paint patterns on it. So if you have any ideas that I should paint on it, then let me know. And for now, I will start with the deer. Right, so I will try to draw some basic line of a deer. And this deer will be white and golden. A little bit like in Harry Potter, huh? Okay. Just to give some form to the symbol. And I think in Harry Potter it was also, funny enough, a similar kind of symbol. That was actually, Harry thought that it was his father, but it turned out at the end that it was him. His inner leader or his spirit. So while those things seem to be a fairy tale, it pretty much works like this in the real life as well. And if you meditate, then you have a chance to get connected with that. It's not that much a voice for me, it's more like a feeling, but it's very personal. So it's the brilliant thing in it is that it's different for all of us because we are all sensing on different ways. Alright, a little bit over. I'm not sure what you're seeing from this, guys. So far, it's a little head. But I don't want to elaborate too much. Just some silhouettes. What I find really awesome about deers is their magnitude. They're so gracious. They have really the deepest dignity among animals. Although they are so fragile. But still, they kind of wear their power. They own it. So for me, a deer is one of the most gracious animals. And it's not harming anyone else. Only each other, but that's hormonal, so that's okay. In pairing season, right? That's all forgiven. Okay. I think still a left leg. On the photo, I have a photo in front of me, but it's not really visible. So I have to improvise a little bit to give it in balance. Alright, let me see. It's a bit fat, don't you think? I'm gonna give you it's a fatty. Okay. Now, I will need some shadows and lights, and then the forms will come out better. And it's so beautiful because they have so beautiful muscles, those animals. A little bit like the trees. If you have watched the trees, then some of them really have a sort of muscular structure, or they look like as if they had muscles. I don't know if you observed it before, but if not, then please go and watch them because they are really amazing. I often have the feeling that we are more connected than we think we are, and that nature has kind of blueprint for most of the things. And what works, right? So it uses the same recipe all over. Alright. Try to bring it closer. Mm-hmm. And as you might know, tomorrow is full moon, which is a brilliant possibility for us to come back to our plans that we had. For example, if you did the new moon meditation with us, then to that goal, of those goals or desires, dreams, name it. And if not, then you can always think about what kind of goals or dreams you have, and we can always help our path with meditation. Of course, we do need rational plans and timing and actions. We are all living in this physical world, that's our part to it. But sometimes we can get a clarity, especially in this meditative state. We can get a clarity about some questions that we might face, or we can just see ourselves so clearly, right? When we recognize ourselves and, for example, our shadows, or what I need to do differently, or what is holding me back. Why am I self-sabotaging again? Those kind of things, it can come pretty handy while doing a meditation for that, because in that state you are just in a different brainwave, and you connect to other spheres easier, more direct. You let everything else go, and therefore you can also let things go, which you observed in the past 2 weeks, for example, since new moon. So that's why it's so important to keep a little track of, for example, the moon. I don't know if you're connected with the moon, but I definitely feel with my creative activities that it does influence my creativity. And it's no magic and no rocket science, right? It's simple magnetism, because the moon has a magnetic effect on water. The low and high tides are much lower and much higher with full moon and new moon. And funny enough, so it does affect water. And what is really funny, we have a plant in the living room, and small mushrooms appeared in it, but they only come out at new moon, exactly on the day of new moon, and exactly on the day of full moon, and after they disappear. It's really amazing. So I don't even want to remove them because I just love to observe them as they pop off, like with precision, precisely. They just know it all works together, right? And they work much more by feeling. And that's what the planets and so on also teaches us to, yes, using a rational side is very important. We need that. It's non-debatable. We do need our mind for planning. We do need our mind or our intellect for understanding. But for the rest, we kind of just can let it go and let the other senses work for what they are meant to be, and not use the mind for things that it's not meant for, because then it will just block us like it does so often. So that's why I love to enhance those channels and those kind of communication, self-reflection with new moon and full moon. Okay, I'm gonna switch to a smaller brush. Let me see. Oh, the legs are not done. Okay, right now you kind of start to like how it forms. And with adding some more shadows, it will be even more visible for you. It just brings out its form. And another very strong symbol that I really would like to paint on this bag is for us the turul, which is a kind of hawk-like thing. It's a falcon. And yeah, that symbol goes back thousands of years. It has also always been connected to inner vision, of course, because it has an overview, right? It has the ability to fly, so it can change between dimensions. Kind of interdimensional being, which also connects the realms with each other. That's what the shamans use for healing. They communicated with the spirits to release the people from sickness. And it's funny, as the falcon is a very strong symbol in so many countries, it also has been, since the Sumerian times, actually the symbol of the whole eastern area. Because I don't know if you know, but those people, the Sumerians and the surrounding tribes, they were all brothers and sisters, and they exchanged knowledge between them. That's how they could advance so fast, because every couple of 200-300 years they just changed a location for the longer terms. So it means some tribes just started to wander around in the area. So it has been between the Caucasus, the Ural, Carpathian Valley, to the area which is now Greece, and back to up to Iran actually. So it was a huge area, and they exchanged some tribes, some families between them every few hundred years. They kind of spoke dialects, so the same root language, but they could understand each other more or less enough so that they could teach each other what they learned in the past periods. And that was going on for thousands of years. So that is something to think about, how much stronger we are together. And sharing the knowledge is more important than ever. Yeah, at the moment it is more the question that there is so much knowledge and it's difficult to know which one is the true source. So you kind of have to rely on your feeling, and it always helps to be skeptical. I think healthy skepticism is always fun. I'm painting, so I said fun, but it's just very healthy to have. So I encourage you to go ahead and just ask if that is true. Think about it, because if you're thinking logically, kind of rationally, spirituality is very logical, and therefore if people are well grounded in this area, just as others, you will see that they are just very cool people, and that's it, because there doesn't need to be more behind it. There might be things that we don't know, of course, but it's just healthy to have your center and not to believe people blindly what they say, but just examine for yourself, experience for yourself. That's the main path of spirituality. Right. So, I'm kind of checking. I'm planning to give the full moon meditation around 7. I don't know if you want to participate in that, guys. It's a guided meditation. I wrote it myself, and it was inspired by Natalie Perez. I just love the things that she collected together about full moon. And it will be about manifestation. More paint, more art. Okay, alright. Yeah, I just started. That's true. But I'm sure I won't be finishing this back today. But if we are kind of done with the deer, and if you have some more ideas, I'm always happy to hear about it. It's kind of cool, right? To create a community project, and I can be your hand for that. I can even write your names in the description at the exhibition. So we will have an exhibition with this in February next year. And therefore we have this deadline of 15 January when we have to deliver it. And I might still exchange the lights because I need to see how it brings out all the forms and the patterns, and if the bag will keep its form. So the second option is that next stream I will use some acrylic one to make it firm, at least the outer skirts, because I don't know if you know acrylic one, it's a 2-component plastic that is fluid, liquid, and when it dries it becomes hard and keeps its form from there. So let's see if that's necessary. The mic was out. So what I was saying, I have this dark purple here, and I will start to work out the shadows a little bit with that. Oh, sorry. Okay. I have even one tinier. Maybe. Yeah, it's a good one. I will start with a very tiny brush, and if needed I can go bigger. The full moon needed some water. And yeah, if you're watching, guys, I'm also curious if you had problems with sleeping in the past days, because full moon can be, if you're a little bit sensitive, full moon can be quite challenging for sleep. I usually do feel it. Yesterday I haven't slept till 3:30. It was rather extreme. But yeah, that happens. So we have to just go with the flow, I guess. I'm working rather dry because if there's too much water on the bag, it may just stain so much the textile and then throw into it. Once you've made that experience, you don't need to make it again, because once your work is ruined, you remember. I kind of like this dark purple because it's so deep. It is almost like a very deep brown. It just has this extra depth to it. Yeah. And I'm not quite sure if I will put any gold to it because I kind of like it this way already. I don't want to make it cheesy. Although you might say with this purple in it, it's already a little bit on the edge. But yeah, never mind. That much we need. That much of a glamour we need in our lives. So, was thinking just to say a few words about the color combinations I'm using. White is mostly the purest form in a sense. It is a great healing capacity, white. It's not for nothing that all the great gurus, or almost all of them, Kundalini yoga teachers, are all wearing white. It's just a intention of purity, to remain pure and to serve and to close out the ego and let the spirit, the light through. That's the whole purpose. So I guess that's why this deer in the mythology has been more or less white or golden, because I imagine it has rather a shine to it. It's kind of, if it's an inner leader, it's a light being, right? And that is very difficult to give back that color to say, yeah, it wasn't white because it was shiny. I think that's where the golden comes from. And who knows, maybe it could have a golden aura around it, like the old icons. All the saints have the aura, the golden aura around them. It's just meaning that someone is on a very high spiritual level, purity, and sending a clear message from above, and a pure message. Okay, I'm gonna bring it a bit closer. It almost seems black. But it's still purple. It's kind of more exciting than black alone. When I started painting, a tutor came to us when we had our first exhibition, and I was using black to create shadows, and he told me, yeah, but if you look at paintings, the painters almost never use black, because shadow is never gray. It's always a light that's broken up into certain shades and a reflection of the base color. So that's why it doesn't appear, black doesn't often appear in a realistic painting. Alright. Hey, Mighty One Heather, if you're watching, I saw your seaside painting. It was so awesome. You're really a talented artist. And it's precise. I love the style, really. I kind of new to realistic things myself. I really didn't practice at all. So lately I'm giving it a shot. But I do realize that it indeed takes time to go from the big picture to details. It's always a challenge. But that's why it's great to come back to the same project again. Because then you'll see what's missing and then you can give more details. Sometimes I'm just sorry for the works that disappear in the meanwhile. So what have you been doing today, guys? I'm happy to hear about it. Did you do a live? Or any other outside activities? Ja, dat loopt heel lekker. I started the day with boot camp in half a coma. And it was raining a little bit. It was not really heavy rain, but it was raining a bit. His face kind of disappeared. Never mind, we'll get back to that. Mech. I want have back the white on the face. His face kind of disappeared. Okay, I will need to wait until it's dry, I guess, because now I won't do much good to it. This little bit of wetness, it kind of gives a bit different structure to it. So yeah. Right, so yes, I was talking about new moon and full moon and the connection between the two. So basically why I wanted to start the whole process with the new moon meditation, that was my first motivation to do a live, is because when the moon is new, it's obviously meaning it's those symbols are so simple, really. It is definitely meaning a new start in our lives. So if you are connected as a girl to the moon, your periods might be a sign to you, meaning what period of life you're in, for example. But also if you're a man and you're more sensitive to the moon cycles, and in general maybe you're more connected to your creativity, or you're just sensitive by nature, when you start up new things, you will connect to the new moon much stronger. For me it meant the past 2 years of my life, and I couldn't believe it's like, yeah, okay, I'm starting something new, that's great, so let's get to the next level, I thought. And I stayed in this cycle, and I just couldn't believe what else can, if I'm still in the new, like how can it be, how is it possible at all? But if I look back now, I see that indeed it has been a journey within, and I went through in the past 3 years through a major transformation, so it meant I was connected with the new within myself. The new can not only mean new things outside, it can be also new qualities in us that we want to achieve. And after all, I am able to see my flows much clearer, which is not a pretty feeling, but it's necessary. It's really necessary because it gives me motivation for the rest of my life to do things, just to go for it and to believe in it, to believe in myself with all my flows. So it's much more realistic picture, and I'm much less afraid, although I do feel afraid, but it doesn't stop me from doing things. So new moon can mean various processes, but it also represents something new you enroll in. Now, if it's an inside process, those may take much longer, right? New things in the outside world, they might just appear and disappear the next day or the next week, and then you get used to it, and then it's not new anymore. And then when waxing moon, when the moon is growing, it's forming a D, then obviously also those energies grow. I feel much more energetic. Also physically, I can do much more sports or yoga or whatever activity. If I need to sleep out, funny enough, it's also a great time to sleep out because the activity of the growing moon doesn't pull me into depression or doesn't pull me back into laziness, let's say, after which it's much more difficult to start up again. So that flow kind of gives us the dynamic to go forward, go for our goals. So I do love the waxing moon for this purpose, and every new project that we envision can also grow. The energies are growing with the waxing moon, so that's why. And now we come to the point when we start to imagine something and set intentions at the new moon. Those intentions and energies get growing with the moon growing. And obviously, like most probably, we won't achieve those goals within one moon cycle. But the thing is, our life is also kind of circular. It goes in cycles. Sorry. Smaller or bigger. The smallest, one of the smallest cycle is, it's 1 hour, 1 day, 1 moon cycle, which is already more needs more an overview because we tend to get lost in the daily endeavors, which is brilliant, right? Because then we enjoy life, hopefully. So thing is, those energies are growing with the moon growing. Now, when we reach the full moon, which is the halves of the moon cycle, funnily enough, then our whole creating power is on its peak. So women who live their full wholeness, all their qualities, also their Amazonic, their goddess powers, just both feminine and masculine powers, and they're really in their skin, they are doing on physical, emotional and spiritual level. They are on their path, really aiming for the wholeness as a person, as whole as they can be. They often tend to get in tune with the full moon. All right. Oh, I might have moved that. I hope it's better now. Great. So yeah, and after full moon is then exactly the point when we might have already noticed between new moon and the full moon cycle, the things that came up as obstacles, either as a habit or just an outside obstacle that we aimed to get recognition for something we did, and either it did come or it didn't. For example, I applied with my paintings again to a museum, but I again received the rejection. Well, this time. But I mean, I have been to a museum before, and I'm hopeful that I will get back there again. It's just a question of timing. But yeah, those also were my obstacles, kinda. I didn't take it too hard, like for 5 minutes, maybe 10. But then it just, whatever. Then it went further, and I just went on bootcamp again. That always helps with tension. Great. So then we realize also which are the tendencies that pull us back, either internal or external, and with the full moon we can set the intention of let those go. Why? Because the next 2 weeks from the full moon back to the new moon again, it's waning moon, and those energies help us immensely to let go of all the things that we got conscious at full moon or in this period. So those energies will help us in this process. Of course, we can always follow our own rhythm. It's only if we are conscious about the environment and we are living in harmony with it or in connection with it, we can use those outside energies to help and enhance our inner processes, which is a great thing, right? Why swim against the flood if we can swim with it? It's just a matter of timing and attention. And it also makes us kind of intuitive, because once we are in tune with nature, I guess we get more sensitive to other processes as well, and we might tend to have some recognition, some feelings about what's in the air more precisely. Right. I will just work a little bit with some wet and some more white, because I think the silhouettes are kind of okay. I will show it to you guys. I don't want to elaborate it too much. I might later on, but it might be just a superficial thinking, but I kind of like this raw, rough surface of things. I love the paintings which are painted from just stains, and from the stains comes something out of the painting. It's not an abstract, but it looks like an abstract, like a portrait. It's brilliant. I find it fascinating, because from where the painter is painting it is not visible, so always he or she always has to take a distance from the painting, which is, I think, key with bigger paintings. I might show you later on this room. I have a full projects going on, and I do like paint in bigger sizes. I usually don't paint this little, but yeah, this is now an exception, because they asked me to do with the project, which is great. It's always a great inspiration to think about your origin, whatever that means to you. What symbolizes? What do you receive from it? And I find it's always more connecting than dividing. Our variety is just truly amazing. And yeah, indeed, that is also what I wanted to symbolize in this bag, because with those little symbols, it will be visible that, yeah, the outside is kind of unique, but the inside is just the same light. Funny enough, it was not planned, but this lamp even has the chakra colors. So I don't know if you see it a little bit. It changes from red to yellow to orange to yellow to green to blue, and then purple, and then pink and white. So it completely goes the chakra system, through the chakra system. And that's all about, that's what's the same in all of us, right? So after all, we are not that different. But of course, it's funny to and also beautiful to have those differences, because that's how we can learn from each other. Right, few more details on the legs. Some more shadows. Now I'm a little bit braver with water because the underlayer, the white, dried already. With a bit more shadows, it looks a wee bit better. And I tend to paint some grass or something for it, meaning it's not just hanging in the air. And if I forget to say, it's very important to drink. I don't know about you, but with full moon, I tend to drink a lot. Sometimes extremely. With me, it can be up to 5 liters. Don't do it because it's extreme. But yeah, try to drink your 2-3 liters of water, then you're good. Water is also very important for emotions. It has amazing purification power, not only physically, but also on a spiritual level. We can literally clean or help clean our aura, or just do those exercises under the shower. I received the tip a while ago and I'm doing it ever since. But I do realize that even as a child, I just stayed in water for like in the bathtub for very long time, like an hour or more. It has always been my haven. So many things that now I know of because I learned them. I'm so sure of because I remembered when I realized them consciously, or I learned them and then I remembered, hey, I did that as a child. And that's the proof, right? That's the proof that you're on your path. Because as a child, you're so innocent. Those things pull you towards your directions of interest, or what you're meant to do in this world and the thoughts you want to enhance. But it's a really important process also to understand them later on, because then you can get back to that childhood experience and make or just recognize the source that has been there for you ever since. Of course, if you're lucky, then you might have kept them ever since you were a child. Some people still see the aura. They say children see the aura and then they forget about it, mostly before they are 3 years old. So by the time they learn to speak, we beat those abilities out of them as good parents, because my child, there is no such thing as a ghost. Well, I'm not sure how I would react, but yeah, challenge comes to us all. But I mean, it's important to be open, and I'd love to keep those abilities in my child if they appear. We are all different, so I'm sure not every child has this feature. But yeah, thing is, then if you have kept those abilities or tendencies ever since you were a child, then you're pretty lucky, and just be grateful for it, because it's such a gift. Then you still need to be conscious about it at one certain moment, how gifted you are. And I'm not kidding. Yeah, I mean, it is not for nothing that the crown chakra, which is responsible for understanding, is not fully developed in children, because yeah, they are still learning about the world, and from the other perspective, they have a much purer view on the world or of the world than adults do. And others should learn much more from children than the other way around, or it should be a learning curve both ways. I love to speak with children. Sometimes I find it challenging to open them up. Not everybody is easy to open up, but the key, I realize, is to take the time and just be open for what they have to say. I do notice it comes maybe from my past, no idea, but I do have that tendency, or did have it before, that I don't have the patience for them to really be open and ask questions that go deep, because they might need more time to figure out their answer, or they just, yeah, might not know the answer. So me being afraid to embarrass them kind of blocks the process. So the thing is, but yeah, I do notice that I'm kind of in a rush to do things, and that's something I would like to let go, starting from this full moon, for example. I love to take the time to hear the answers of the children for my questions, and I like to take the time to ask meaningful questions to children as well, and not only to adults. I kind of need more body to this grass. It has been a very floppy something, but doesn't look like nature anymore. Right, let me see. A bit more shadow. Look, a clog. What a mean thing. So if you're lying in a couple of days sleepless in your bed in the night, then don't worry. I'm certainly with you guys. So you're not alone with your sleepless nights. Although I always hope for the next day to be better. Never know. Great, so our deer also has some grass now. So let me see if that has become something that I wanted it to be. Hmm. I kind of like this purple-white harmony on that natural bag. It gives us a certain kick. It's kind of cool. Thanks. Yeah, I also kind of like it. So I need to fix that somehow a little bit in the middle and close to the cloth, so that we can properly see the light and the background. It's a little bit pity for the midline, but yeah, that's a bag. It's a bag project. Great, I'm happy with it. I'd like to show you my studio a little, just the works that I'm working on right now. There are several lying around, so if you don't mind. So those are 2 fathers. It's quite big, it's 1 meter. 2 local fathers, they started a podcast. Cool people, they are both entrepreneurs, and they are both surprisingly in the beer business. But they have started this podcast about fatherhood, because they both became fathers recently, and they wanted to share this experience because it brought so different whole different experiences into their life compared to what they've been into before. So those are the little children's hands in front of them, and especially because they didn't only talk about themselves, but they invited also other fathers to talk about their fatherhood and their most unique experiences or most lovely experiences as fathers. So I really appreciate that podcast. It's really funny with sleepless nights and blissful moments, whatever comes with children and fatherhood. And this one, if we step a bit further, is a painting that I started to paint in Greece. And back then it looked very different. This was mainly flaming red and this turquoise blue. The whole picture, the whole painting was of those 2 colors mainly, and some white. The ice ball was in it, but the ice ball was the only part that was the cool part, the stable part of the painting. The rest was just flames and the blueness of the sky, the blueness of the sea. So it was fire and water, a very intense period, which, if I think back, it has been also an intense period living in Greece. I enjoyed it a lot, but it has been intense from many perspectives. And then when I arrived to the Netherlands, then it just changed. I felt that it wasn't ready, that I wasn't okay with it anymore. And then those clouds and forms started to flow into it. There was a chord. I was playing around a lot with chords back then because of the umbilical cord, or just our chords to the universe, to a higher self, or a leader, deer, a symbol. And those are meant to be star signs. So those are not consciously made things. I just recognized them afterwards. So these turn to clouds a little bit and some ice, because this down area, the fire and the water and all the intensity of it has been cooled down. But you see, there is also some shiny elements in it. I don't know how much it is visible in the slide, But basically, the gold represents the knowledge. As the self-recognition and the self-knowledge started to be part of my life, and I got a more clear picture of myself and these 2 years of inner transformation, it really does give a silver lining to it. It gets golden. But yeah, gold always represents healing and knowledge, and it has been a certain healing indeed, because self-recognition is always good for the soul, because the more you know yourself, the more you can love yourself, because you know what you are, right? And you can love what you know. You can love also what you don't know, but it's much more mysterious and it doesn't have any firm base. So it's always good to collect from knowledge of ourselves. This has been the tower of my past, literally, when I felt that all what I have been living in the past 40 years, it has nothing to do with me anymore. It's just certain patterns that I took upon myself, or things that I've learned from others, but I kind of wiped it clean. That has been another intense experience, but it was an internal intense experience, and that is what this tower symbolized. It has been very colorful. My past has been very changing in regarding the facts, life, places, the physical locations, and changes all over. Constantly changes, which meant I couldn't ever settle down. So once I got there in my life and had the luck to settle down, then the internal transformation could take place. Before that, I was too busy with the outside. But then that's why it's also kind of getting white now. It's interesting how the same process is going on with the two paintings, and it's not really intentional. It's kind of, I just go with my feelings, you know me. And I don't know how far I will make it white. I kind of let it on my intuition to decide. I might rub some places free still, that color comes back to it, so we'll see what comes out of it. All right, that's it for now, and thank you so much for joining. And Henry and me are slowly taking goodbye.